Hey everybody, welcome back, and today I'm going to be tackling a 2-week period from September of last year. I'm going to be primarily using the Studio Calico Canyonlands Documenter and Scrapbooker kits from November of 2015. When I first went back to find the photos that I was going to use for this week, I freaked out a little bit because I literally only took 3 crappy pictures for one whole week, which I've never done before. And then I was like, oh my god, how am I going to fill a 2-page spread with three pictures? So I talked myself off the ledge, and everything was fine because I was like, you know what, just use the pictures from the next week, which I had enough, so it all worked out. But this is the first time that I've ever had to do that, which I don't like doing, but you know what, I went with it. So I'm using this sticker sheet from the Scrapbooker kit to accent my journaling card. I like that picture of the old-time camera. That rubber piece that says September is actually from the September of 2016 Documenter kit, and that's called Lost River. These letters here are kind of my nemesis because I really want them to look even and evenly spaced. And I know there's easier ways to do this, but sometimes I don't do the easy or quick smart way. I do the hard, stupid, difficult way. So you'll see me futz around with these for a few minutes. The card immediately to the right of my title card that I'm working on is a photo of a conference room at work. And I, before printing it, used the digital brush set from Allie Edwards, which is called These Days Are For. And she also has a physical stamp that says the same. In this particular instance, I opened the photo in Photoshop and I used the brush to just put it right on top of my picture and printed it out that way. But it's totally fine if you have the stamp set. You just stamp on the picture with Stays On Ink, and the results are pretty much the same. I just like the freedom of the brushes because you can change the sizes and the colors and stuff. So my card there is done. My next card is going to be talking about our flight home on Monday from Hawaii, which we visited the week prior. And I'm choosing a piece of paper from the Canyonlands scrapbook kit. That will be my background. And I settled on the one with the old-time photographs that was lightly printed on the back of this pink paper, which is weird. I don't usually use pink, but I like this one. So I often scrapbook or document our journeys to or from places, especially if we have a lot of connections, and especially if it's like the whole day traveling, which this was literally the whole day in airports or on airplanes. So, and also I wanted to include this stub that they had given me when we boarded in Kona. We don't usually have paper boarding passes anymore. Usually they're on our phones. I mean, you can print them if you want to, but we just don't because we try to be a little bit environmentally conscious and don't want to have to throw out a bunch of paper. But there was no option for that, and so I think probably within the next couple of years, the paper boarding passes will be a thing of the past, or largely a thing of the past. So, and that's the beauty of Project Life, is capturing those little things of life that change without you even noticing. And then you go back and you look 5 years ago and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot that we used to do it that way, which I love that about Project Life. These arrows are from an old Freckled Fawn kit, and I'll use those to indicate where we're going to. And there's also a piece of some washi tape that came with that kit that I used. So we went from Kona to Honolulu to San Francisco and then to Fresno. And it was a long day. And then I'm putting my last little arrow on there. I'm putting an asterisk next to the home airport because I just wanted to indicate that it basically took all day. And then I put a piece of washi tape in that space on the bottom. Tear off the roll and then wrap those edges around the piece of paper, and I'm done with that one. Next, I'm going to be spelling out learning because Tuesdays are for learning at work. And I had this piece of cellophane packaging thing lying next to me, and I was trying to brainstorm about an easier way to put these stupid letters on. And if I put just the bottom edge of it on, I could line it up the way I wanted it to and then kind of move it around before committing and sticking it down on the photo. It worked out pretty well. As I was trying to position it, I was like, oh yeah, there's a piece of cardboard in there. Let's take that out so I can see where I'm putting it. Smart, right? So that worked out really well, and I used the same little piece of paper, cellophane on the next page also. Next, I'm going to be going through, and oh, here I'm showing you the Canyonlands card so that I don't forget which kit I'm using. And I'm just picking out some of my journaling cards. I used the Allie Edwards Currently die to cut this out on my Big Shot, and I used some of the pattern paper from the scrapbook kit to cut it out. I knew I wanted to use it on this layout, but I wasn't really sure where. And so I sort of abandoned that because I didn't like where it was going. I moved on to the photo below it, which I do sometimes. If I'm not having luck with one card or a picture embellishment or whatever, then I'll just move on to something else and come back to it. So I used some of these washi pieces from the Documenter kit to cover up the dude that was in the background of our picture. And then I got one of the stickers from the sticker sheet that says "We Just Click," which was cute and covered up the guy even more. So put that down and call that one done. The card that I'm working on now is actually a picture that somebody showed me at work of a really bad tibial fracture. And it was not my injury, but it's something that I see at work a lot, and just documenting kind of my day at work, and it looked like it really hurt, so I put "ow" at the top of it. The card to the left of that x-ray is a filler card, and it says, "Home is the nicest word there is," which after Hawaii and the heat of that place, I was glad to be home. And then the other card to the right of it is a card that I had filled out actually last fall and put it in the pocket from that time frame, and just wanted to document the turning of the seasons at that time. Moving on to the next page is basically all the photos from our trip to Disneyland. That was at the end of that second week. And I knew that I wanted to use the birthday themed stamp set there to document Tracy's birthday, which we were celebrating at Disneyland. I went through and I was trying to figure out which card I wanted to use on it for the stamp set, and then I gave up and I moved on to something else. And that's kind of what I do and how my process is. If I'm going along and I'm finding something and I'm kind of hitting a roadblock, or I'm not happy with the selection, I go to a different section, or I go to a different card or a picture. Let things kind of bounce around in the back of my head. Just keep working with my hands while my brain thinks on a different path, and then I'll come back to it, and then it'll work, and I'm happy with it. So just a little bit of my internal crazy going on right there. Next, I cut apart one of these cards that said "Best of Friends," put it on some pop dots, and put that on the bottom of that photo up there. This journaling card I embellished with I cut off the thankful bit from another journaling card in the kit, layered this flower black and white sticker underneath that, and trimmed off the edge there, and then adhered this heart sticker to it, and then completed my journaling. I loved the spacing of this card because it was small, so I could get, a good amount of information on it, and it's pretty much the natural size of my printing, and usually it's a lot bigger in these journaling cards, so I was really excited to use this one. I said, this weekend we were so lucky to travel to Orange County. We got our hair done, went to Disneyland, and celebrated T's birthday. Our friends Josh and Lisette came as well. We had an absolute blast, especially at the Big Gay Brunch. So grateful. Sorry about that phone ringing. So next, I'm coming back to this other journaling card space, and finally trying to figure out which card's going to go well with that stamp set. And I decided to use the red one and to stamp the candles off the bottom. So I got my Memento ink, and I'm always super careful when I pull off these super sticky stamps because I'm terrified that they're going to just rip like a corner or something and ruin the whole thing. I've never actually done that, but I can just, that's my luck. I'll totally see it happening. I cleaned it off by just stamping on a piece of scratch paper. My next thing, I wanted to use the Make-A-Wish stamp to layer on top of it, but I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it, like a black ink on a white cardstock, a black ink on a subtle piece of pattern paper, or a different color ink entirely. So I'm doing a bunch of them. I'm going to cut them all out and then see which one I like the best. The colored ink I used was an Ali Edwards ink called Columbia, which sort of is that light blue color of that pattern paper also. So here I am stamping that out. I'm just going to cut those out. And then this ink is actually, it's beautiful ink and it makes really crisp images. But when you're done stamping it, I like clean stamps to put them away. So I clean it off with some baby wipes and that comes right off. Okay, so I'm cutting all these out and I'm going to play with which one I like the best. I like the blue on there. I like blue and red together, like a teal and red more accurately. And so I went with the black on the pattern paper and using pop dots to give it a little bit of dimension. My pop dots are kind of big, so when I have little strips like this, I have to cut them in half, which isn't a big deal. And then I just trimmed the edge off there. Ready for some journaling. There wasn't a lot of space, so all I said was T's birthday dinner was at Napa Rose. 7 sparkling sins. Cocktails with flowers. Yum. You'll see the cocktail with flowers in it just to the right there. Every time we go there, which isn't all that often, I love seeing if this is still on the menu because it's so good. I don't know why I'm obsessed with flowers that you can eat. They're not even good. They're just such a cool thing that whenever they have stuff with edible flowers in it, I get it. So, and this is actually a really good cocktail. So I adorned it with one of the die-cut leaves from the Canyonlands documentary kit. And I got a ton of leaves in that kit. I'll never use all of them. Finally, I figured out what I was going to use the currently die piece with. And that was going to go on the bottom of the last photo of us. I'm using a glue pen to get glue all over the very delicate word. And I just had the Y hang off just a little bit. And I'm going to trim that off. All done with that one. And my last card, no, it's not my last card. My second to last card is going to be talking about the Haunted Mansion. In October, Disneyland decorates the Haunted Mansion to be like Nightmare Before Christmas, and they put pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns on the outside, and then they totally redo the inside with characters from Nightmare Before Christmas. And we always like to go there when it changed like that for October through December. My last card, I'm just putting some words on the bottom of that picture of the cakes. Disneyland had a lot of cool desserts that weekend, and they had them laid out so pretty, so I took a picture and put it in there. And I used my little cellophane packaging thing trick, and it seemed to work really well, so I'll stick with it with these little stickers. Thanks so much for coming by, and I know time is precious, so I appreciate you spending your time here with me. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I hope you have a happy crafting.